Good morning, everyone. It seems to be 9 o'clock on Friday morning. We hope that you're all well, and I know you've all been attending many online sessions to enhance your learning, so we thank you for being here. This presentation is about Google Meet, so providing online video conferencing to your students. I am going to share my screen. My name is Emily Dixon, and Kaylee Evans is also here.
Morning.
And she looks after the chat as I share my screen here. So feel free to type in any questions. We do ask that you keep your mic muted unless you want to ask a question through the audio capabilities. It just helps cut back on the background noises. Both Kaylee and I have families at home, as you do probably, so there might be some goings on in the background. We apologize ahead of time. And I have a little sign here that I've made to my family that says, please be quiet, I am presenting. So
That's awesome.
I do have to hold that up every once in a while, so I apologize.
At least you have a sign, Emily. You're just going to see my hand go.
Okay, so can you see my screen okay, Kaylee?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay. We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Ottawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. As I mentioned, Kaylee and I are your hosts. Kaylee is the principal at London Road Public School, and I'm the principal out at Bazanquet Central. We do not to be experts with Google Meet. However, we've each had the opportunity to have several virtual meetings in the last few weeks. And so we are happy to offer our learning and provide any ongoing support should you need it. There you go, Kaylee.
Okay, so as you have probably seen before, the presentations this week have all started with the 6 remote learning guidelines, and we're going to go through them on each slide. So the first guideline, we want to go to the next one, is asynchronous learning. And I've been telling everybody that this was a brand new word for me. I'd never heard it before, but what it means, and I've just done something to my chat, there we go, sorry. What it means is that we are not expecting you to be online all day, 9 to 3 with your students. And we are not expecting our students to be online all day either. So the tasks that we are presenting are to be done according to their schedules and according to your schedule as well. Okay. The next principle or guideline is pace. So when you are creating tasks, and whether you're using Google Classroom or Seesaw or Google Meet, you're going to create experiences for students to work at their own pace, keeping in mind, I think as we've all discovered over this last week, that tasks completed at home can take much longer than they would in a classroom due to distractions and kitchen breaks. There's a lot of snacking that goes on in our house right now. The next one is to prioritize. So you're going to choose tasks that complement what you were doing in the classroom, but are really focused on specific learning expectations. And the fourth one is that we are asking that all staff be available throughout the day. My own staff has set up some office hours, 1 or 2 hours a day, and they have communicated to the parents how they would like to be contacted, whether it's through Seesaw or email or phone or through Google Meet. And we shared all of those office hours with the whole school community. Your learning tasks need to be intentional. So this is not the time for the fun, fluffy, time filler type activities that we all find ourselves using throughout the day in the classroom. but really intentional activities that promote rich learning. And finally, the tasks are to be familiar. So the tasks, but also the tools are to be familiar. So if you are currently using Seesaw or Google, continue to use Seesaw or Google, but it might be a time to introduce new tools such as Google Meets, albeit very slowly. Okay. And this is just a little shout out for the learning. So just a reminder that if you were currently using Seesaw and you've attended Part A and Part B on Wednesday and Thursday, today is your last session. It's Part C of all the sessions today. As you know, the sessions were building upon each other, so they are good to attend all of them, with the exception of ours, which is the same every day, although you're the best one because we've really nailed it this time.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So I'm going to walk us through 3 main ways to start your Google Meet video conference. I'll start with kind of a more basic one-time video conferencing that you might set up, all the way to, I will explain the process of setting up so that you can have repetitive meetings and invite people through the calendar. So the first thing is that you would need to log on into your Google so that you would see the waffle on the right-hand side with your name and or picture. And when you click on the waffle, you would click on to the Google Meet icon. You need to access this through your lkdsb.com email, and this will give you access to the G Suite. As I mentioned, there are 3 basic ways to start a meeting. First, you can click onto the app and you can enter the people that you want to join with you. This would be a way that you could do it if you just have a one-off meeting. Maybe you want to meet with a smaller group of students or colleagues. You could just invite them as you are starting the meeting. The second way will be for you to get a link from the startup screen that you could copy and paste into an email or a Seesaw message, and they will be able to access the meeting through a link. And the last we will discuss is creating a Google group and then creating an event through your Google Calendar that will send an invitation out to the members of your Google group. I should start out, we've had some questions about why this presentation is in Zoom rather than Google Meet. And the quick answer is the lovely Rod that you heard and saw at the beginning of the meeting provides support for all of our meetings that have such large attendance, and his support is done through Zoom. So that's why this meeting is in Zoom. So when you click on the Google Meet icon, you will come up with a screen that looks like this on the left here, and you can click on Join or Start a Meeting. You will be asked if you can, if the program should allow your microphone and video access, and you want to make sure that this is enacted. And you can name your meeting as well at this initial prompt. Then the next screen that you will find is where you can add people to your meeting. Again, you would click on Add People. You can see down here it says Add People, and you would add your students or colleagues using the lkdsb.com email. You can also have people join through audio through their phone. And there are a couple tricks that we've learned about this phone invitation. You want to make sure that you, being the one initiating the meeting, are the one to call them from clicking on over here where it says call. At the initial screen, there is a dial-in phone number provided with a PIN number. However, if they call into the meeting using this, they will be charged long distance fees. So you want to make sure that you call using this feature in Add People, and no long distance charges are had. So that's a quick little tip. We did have a couple people receive some long distance charges, so I just wanted to make sure we mentioned that. If for some reason they are dropped, the call is dropped through the meeting, have them either text you or message you that you need to call them back. But that's a neat feature with Google Meet, is that you can invite people to the meeting via email invitation and calling in. So another way to start a meeting is by copy and pasting the link that you will see in that initial screen where you're adding people. So if you copy this link, you can then paste it into an email. I know there have been some principals that have used this to invite their staff. And so you can put that in the lkdsb.net email, and people will still be able to join that meeting. You can also send this link through Seesaw if you're inviting your students. That might be an easy way, especially for the younger, like the primary division. That might be an easy way to invite people to the meeting. You just have to make sure that you remember that you also have to enter the meeting using that same link. So you might need to go into your sent folder in your email to access the link. But every time you open a new tab in Google Meet, it creates a new link. So you just need to make sure you're always accessing the meeting using the same link as the people you've invited.
If I can just interject, this is how I do it with my staff. We use the same link every time, and I just bookmarked the meeting at the top of my toolbar. So I just open that meeting every time.
The last way is a little heavy on the front end, trying to get this set up. However, if you plan to have reoccurring Google Meet sessions with your students or with a group that you that you belong to, I would strongly suggest taking the time to do this method. So first you would go into, again, from clicking on the waffle on the right-hand side of your Google screen, you will see the icon for Google Group. And this is what, over here on the left, is what the screen would look like. And you just click on Create Group. You can name your group, whether it's your grade 5-6 class. And then you would type in all the email addresses of the lkdsb.com emails that you want to join that group. So this is a one-time kind of tedious activity where you're going to have to type in the emails, and then you create that group. And it's really important that when you create that group, that the students or the group that you're inviting, they accept invitation to that Google group, because any future invitations you send to the group, they won't be able to access if they haven't first accepted to join the group. So like I said, this is a bit tedious, but that's a one-time thing, creating the Google group. And then once you've created that group, you would go into your Google Calendar. Sorry, I know this slide goes against the principles of presentation, but I wanted to make sure that you had record of the step-by-step instructions of how to create an event through Google Calendar. So once your Google group is created, you go into the Google Calendar, and there's an icon that looks like a plus sign, multicolored plus sign, and you click on Create, and then this screen comes up here. So you would first add a title, whether it's your class meeting, and then you would add the guests. Now this is where creating the Google group comes in handy, because under Add Guests, you just type in the name that you gave your Google group. So you would just type that name in, and then everyone within the Google group will receive the invitation. You then need to click on Add Location or Conferencing and Add Conference. That creates the link to your meeting that the students would then receive in the invitation into their .com email. So that's where the link is created, and you need to make sure that you access the meeting through that same link, and I'll explain that in a minute. So once you click Save, then all the invitations are sent to all the members of the Google group. Everyone will need to access the invitation, will be sent to their .com email, and I will show you what the invitation looks like. So this is what they receive in their inbox, and the link is within the red circle there. That's the link that they need to click on to join your meeting. So they don't necessarily need to go into Google Calendar. They can just click on the link from the email once you create your event. Something I want to remind you though is for you to enter the meeting, you can just go into your Google Calendar and click on the link within the date and time that you've created the event for. And that will take you right into your Google Meet meeting. And then you just wait for your students to join in the meeting.
Emily, we just have a question, if I can interrupt.
Yes.
Tracy is asking how many students can be added to one group. Is there a limit on the amount of people in a group?
I want to say 1,000. That number is sticking out. I know for Google Meet, the board has access. I think you can invite up to 100 people into a Google Meet session. So, but I think with Google Group, it's much higher.
Okay, so we should be well within the number of people for our classroom use.
Yes.
Perfect.
And the last tip I wanted to give at this stage, the first time I went through this with the Besanquet staff, I had a staff member on the side with our group chat, helping to troubleshoot people entering for the first time. It's just the unknown and getting the participants familiar with how to access the invitation through the link. And so within 10 minutes, we had everybody joining in, and I noticed there's a couple of Besanquet staff in this meeting, but we've had 4 or 5 virtual staff meetings through Google Meet, and so far connections have been pretty good. We did have I do have a staff member that I call in each time, and her call has been dropped once or twice. And we just called her back, and she just answers her phone and able to rejoin us. So it has been a very effective tool for connecting with people, which I think is so important at this time. We all just need to kind of see faces, and this is another way to be connected. So Kelly's going to take you through some tips and tricks.
So the first thing is that when you have started the meeting, you want to request that everybody turns their chat feature on. So the chat feature is found in the right-hand corner of the screen. There's the people icon, and then there's a little box with 3 lines. Looks like a little speech bubble. When it is enabled, that box is green, right? And that allows your students or your colleagues to type messages to you. The screens can appear differently, so you can have different views of your students. You won't be able to see all of them at the same time. However, the person who is talking either is the largest screen or is the highlighted screen or box, I guess. You can change the layout of how you're seeing the screen. So it can look at the tiles, or you can have 2 or 1 large picture. By going to the bar at the bottom, And how you find the bar at the bottom, I found it was most effective yesterday. I was doing a trial run with somebody from our meeting yesterday, and I said, if you move your cursor and click on my neck, so my picture on the screen, click on my neck, your white bar will pop up. And that white bar has on the right of it 3 dots, and that will allow you to change the layout. So that white bar also allows you to mute your microphone, which we would recommend that you request everyone to do. The microphones seem to be very sensitive, so you can hear all of the background noise, whether it be papers rustling or your phone pinging, or if you're by an open window, the birds chirping, everything gets picked up. So have your students mute their microphones using that white bar, and they can also turn their video on and off. I like that function when my children come into the room and I need to sternly remind them that mommy is on a conference call. The other feature, I just wanted to say, you can mute, you as the presenter or the host of the meeting can mute other participants, but then they need to unmute themselves. So for example, in my staff meeting, I teasingly muted one of our staff members, and then he couldn't find the white bar at the bottom and spent most of the meeting muted until he figured out how to unmute himself. So just keep in mind, you can turn them off, but you can't turn them back on. So if you are using Google Meet as a conferencing tool, so you're doing a little guided reading group and you want to present on your screen, that white bar also has an option to present your screen. So what you do is you just click on the box with the arrow in it, and it will take over your screen, and whatever you have up, your students will be able to see. Google has a really, really great support built right in. So while you are in the Meet, you can always go to Google Meet Help, type in the issue that you are having, and they offer tons of support just like this to get you, hopefully, to help you troubleshoot any issue that you might have. You also have Emily and I if you require some support. So our email addresses are there. We are happy to run a test meet with you if you would like, just so you can play with all the features. I'm just looking at the chat. Rita's asking, can you conference with only one student at a time? Yes, you could have a meet with one student. I would caution you, if you are meeting with only one student at a time, to perhaps let a colleague know that you are meeting with that student and just follow the same procedures that you would at your school if you were meeting privately with a student. Okay, all right. So does anybody have any questions? You can unmute your mic or you can type them in the chat box. Emily, that's the fastest we've ever done this. Yay.
Maybe we're explaining it a bit better.
So Kelly is asking if a Google Meet can be recorded. Kelly, we're not sure about that. We heard yesterday that if you purchased additional features for Google Meet, then you could record them. But we're not sure, and we're looking into that. For right now, I would say no, a Google Meet cannot be recorded. Rita's asking, are there written instructions? So Rita, this has been recorded and is available right here on the elementary blog. It's also on the portal, so you can play the video again at your leisure. I think the slide deck is also there, or will be there, so you can look at that as well. But Rita, don't hesitate to reach out to Emily or I, and we can help you with anything you need. Hopefully, we'll try to help you with anything you need. Hi, Mary Lynn.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to pop in and say, I've been here, but I wanted to pop in so you can hear me and see me and say a great big thank you to Emily and Kaylee, who have been presenting all week this presentation. And before, they were doing it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They actually did it for the principals as well. So they've been busy, busy women getting this ready for everybody. So hope everyone enjoyed it. And I also want to thank everyone for participating and for all other sessions that you may have been attending this week. It's been flooded and it's been wonderful. And we're really thrilled that we've been able to put this together so quickly for everybody. So thanks, and have a good weekend, even though weekend feels like a week these days. Enjoy. And Rod, in the background, thank you for all you do for us.
Yes,
Oh,
thank
hey,
you,
it's
Rod.
my pleasure. Here's the little reward. It'd be nice if people that are remote turn their cameras on now that no screen's being shared. And you can give a big breakfast wave and raise your glass of coffee to anybody who's on the meeting. Nice to see everybody.
It is nice. It is nice to see faces for sure.
If you can't see everybody, there's a little up in the upper corner of the video screen. You click the little view of the Padlet. It looks like a waffle. And you see everybody.
Ah, look at that. Hey, Sammy.
I see some people that are
I'm lucky.
cameras on.
Yeah. This is awesome. Hi, Erin. How are you? Long time no see.
Can you guys see me or hear me? Karen
Yeah.
LaRue?
I can hear you.
We can hear someone who's talking.
I see a little one over there. Jen's got on her lap.
For Karen LaRue?
Karen, no, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Yeah.
Okay, I just unmuted me and then, yeah, there's just an icon for my face. I don't know why I can't see